Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something really cool, something I've been geeking out about, the MAD Systems randomizing audio player.
Oh, it's a good one. You're gonna love this one.
I've been looking through the material you sent, and honestly, I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
So, from what I gather, this isn't your typical press play and listen kind of audio player.
No, not all.
We're talking about creating actual soundscapes, right? Like full-on immersive audio experiences.
Exactly. It's about going beyond just playing a sound file. It's about creating a sense of place, of environment through audio.
Okay, so paint a picture for me here. What kind of experience are we talking about?
Well, imagine instead of hearing the same repetitive loop, you walk into a space and you're surrounded by the sounds of a bustling city street. Or maybe you're transported to a rainforest.
Okay, now you've got my attention. That sounds amazing.
It's all about creating a sense of realism, of immersion that you just don't get with traditional audio setups.
So how does it work? The material mentions something called randomization as being key.
Ah, yes. Randomization is what makes it special.
They even get into the nitty-gritty, talking about randomizing sound file playback, volume levels, audio outputs, all this stuff. Honestly, it's a bit over my head.
Yeah, it sounds a bit complex when you lay it all out like that.
Can you break it down for me?
Of course. Let's use that rainforest example. If you just played a recording of a bird call every 30 seconds at the same volume, it wouldn't be very realistic, would it?
It would sound really artificial.
Exactly. But with the MAD Systems player, you can take that bird call and you can randomize when it plays, how loud it is, even where it seems to be coming from.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So it's not just one sound playing after another. It's about creating a more dynamic, a more natural soundscape.
Exactly. It's like having a sound engineer constantly mixing and adjusting the audio in real time to create this incredibly immersive experience.
It's like having a whole rainforest symphony going on.
That's a great way to put it. You take all these individual sounds, bird calls, wind rustling through leaves, maybe some distant animal noises, and the player orchestrates them into this symphony.
This is blowing my mind. And it's not all just rainforests, right? There was something in the material about using this in a museum, even triggering a lion's roar.
Oh yeah, definitely. This technology has applications way beyond just recreating natural environments.
Tell me more about that. How did that work?
Well, let's stick with the museum example for a second. Imagine you're walking through an exhibit, and as you approach a certain display, boom, a lion's roar comes out of nowhere. It's about adding this element of surprise, of interactivity to really engage the visitor.
Wow, I could see how that would be really effective, maybe even make you jump a little. Is that what they mean by interactive sound design?
Precisely. You're not just creating a soundscape, you're creating an experience that responds to the listener.
Okay, so we've got randomization creating this incredibly lifelike audio environment, and now we've got interactivity making it even more engaging. How do you even begin to control all of that? I'm picturing a control panel with like a million buttons and dials.
Actually, it's not as complicated as you might think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of the cool things about the system is that it's surprisingly user-friendly.
Well, that's good to hear. So it's not just for audio engineers then?
Not at all. You don't need a degree in sound design to use it.
So walk me through it then. How does it all work?
Well, let's see. Where should we start?
I guess I'm still stuck in the technical side.
Yeah.
The source material mentioned multi-channel output and AES67 network audio. But honestly, I have no idea what those even mean.
Yeah, those are some pretty jargony terms.
Right.
Okay, so multi-channel output just means that you can send different audio signals to multiple speakers at the same time.
Okay, so instead of everything coming out of one speaker,
Exactly.
you could have different sounds coming from different directions.
Right. Think about our rainforest example. You could have the birds coming from above
Oh, I see.
and the monkeys chattering off in the distance all at the same time. It creates a much more realistic soundscape that way.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about the other one, the AES, what was it?
AES67 network audio. Basically, it just means that the player can talk to other audio devices over a network.
So it's like connecting to your Wi-Fi.
Kind of, yeah. It means you could potentially have your soundscape spread out over a much larger area.
Oh, I get it. So instead of just one room, you could have sound coming from all over a building.
Exactly. And you can even synchronize the audio with other things like lighting and video.
Wow, so it's like a whole integrated system then.
Exactly. And the best part is that you have so much control over all of it.
Okay, now we're talking. Control is good.
Right. You can adjust the volume, change the soundscapes, even trigger specific sounds on demand.
So I could be like, Okay, lions roar now.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool. And the applications go way beyond just museums and rainforests.
Yeah, I was going to say, this seems like it could be used for almost anything.
Oh, absolutely. Think about retail spaces. Imagine walking into a store and instead of hearing the same generic pop music,
Ugh, I know, the worst.
you're greeted by this really carefully curated soundscape that actually enhances the shopping experience.
Now you're speaking my language. That's a great idea.
Right. Or imagine a restaurant that uses sound to create different moods in different areas.
Oh, like a calming atmosphere in the dining area and then something more upbeat in the bar area.
Exactly. The possibilities are really endless.
Okay, so let's say I want to create one of these amazing soundscapes. How do I even begin? Do I need to be like a sound engineer or something?
Well, it definitely helps to have an ear for sound and a good understanding of how it affects people.
Okay, so maybe not something I can just whip up in my spare time then.
Well, it's not rocket science or anything, but it does require some thought and planning.
So it's about more than just randomly throwing sounds together.
Exactly. It's about understanding how different sounds work together to create a specific mood or atmosphere.
So it's like being an artist, but with sound instead of paint.
I like that. It's about being very intentional with your choices and creating something that's both pleasing and effective.
This is fascinating. It's like you're designing an experience, not just a soundtrack.
That's a really good way to put it.
You know, we've been talking a lot about these big immersive examples.
Yeah, the rainforests, the museums.
Right. But it occurs to me that this technology could be used in much more subtle ways, too.
Oh, absolutely. Think about places like hospitals or classrooms.
That's interesting.
Imagine using calming soundscapes to help patients relax or to create a more focused learning environment for students.
You know, when I first started reading about this randomizing audio player, I have to admit, I thought it was a little gimmicky. I know. But the more I learn about it, the more I realize how powerful this technology could be.
It really is amazing when you think about it.
It's not just about entertainment. It's about using sound to improve our lives.
And that's what's so exciting about it. It's this intersection of art and technology.
It's like you said, it's about connecting with something fundamental to the human experience. Sound is such a powerful force.
It really is. It can affect our mood, our behavior, even our health.
So as we wrap up here, I'm curious to know, what kind of soundscape would you create if you could create anything?
That's a tough one. So many possibilities. But I think I'd want to create something that evokes a sense of peace and tranquility.
Oh, I like that.
Maybe something with the sounds of nature, but also some subtle musical elements.
Like your own personal oasis.
Exactly. A place where you can just relax and escape from the noise and stress of everyday life.
That's beautiful. Well, on that note, I want to thank you for taking us on this deep dive into the world of the Mad Systems randomizing audio player.
It's been my pleasure.
It's truly amazing technology, and I can't wait to see how it's used in the future.
Me too. It's going to be fascinating to see what people come up with.
And for our listeners, we want to hear from you. What kind of soundscapes would you create? Let us know in the comments, and until next time, happy listening.